Today we are going to start with the 10th session, whereas in the previous session we explained principle of duality, how to solve the equation by using truth table, by using perfect induction method, as well as by using algebraic method. Today I am to explain regarding minterm as well as maxterm. What do you mean by minterm, maxterm, how to represent that, then what is the designation for minterm as well as maxterm. That today we are going to explain. Whereas minterm, first I am going to tell you what do you mean by exactly minterm. Minterm is a product of all the literals. Literal is nothing but variables. Minterm is a product of variables where the variable may be complemented or it may be non-complemented with bar or without bar. For example, x, y, z. Consider minterm is a product. If you don't have any variable, any operator, then consider as a dot operator. Minterm is a product of all the literals with or without bar. Variable, literal means variables. If the variable may have complement or it may does not have any complement. Minterm is a product of all the literals with or without bar. It may contain bar or it may not contain any bar. That is minterm. For example, in the maxterm, if I want to say, maxterm is the sum of all the literals with or without bar. For example, x plus y plus z. See, it is minterm. And minterm, what exactly it states that? Minterm represent product of all the literals with or without complement, with or without bar. In the same way, maxterm is a sum of, here plus operator means sum. It's a sum of all the literals with or without complement. This variable may contain complement or it may not contain any complement. But the main definition here in minterm represents product of all the literals with or without bar. In the maxterm, it is the sum of all the literals with or without complement. In the minterm, if it is 0, it represents. Then, for example, consider x is the variable. If 0, it will convert it as x bar. Complement, it represents bar. If it is 0, it represents, it is a complement variable. If it is represents 1, then it does not have any complement in minterm. See, in minterm, see the definition? Minterm is a product means dot, multiplication. It's a product of all the literals. Literals and variables. Variables with or without complement. ಈಗ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ x bar, y bar ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲದೇನೂ ಕೂಡ ಇರಬಹುದು. Without complement. And here it represents 0 to x bar. Whatever variable, it will convert it represents in bar format. If it is 1, then it does not have any complement here. This is regarding minterm. In the same way, for maxterm, definition is, it's a sum of, sum and plus, sum of all the literals with or without complement. See the difference between these two? Here's the product of all the literals. Here it is a sum of all the literals, where the literals may have complement or it does not have any complement. But here it represents in another format. If it is 0, then it represents without complement for the given expression. If we have bar, then it represents complement. ಹಾಗಂದ್ರೆ minterm ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ product of all the literals ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ 0 ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, 1 ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Whereas in maxterm, it's a sum of all the literals and it represents, 0 represents without complement. 0 ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, 1 ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿತ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. These are the things regarding minterm and maxterm. If you know the definition properly, then you can able to represent how exactly the minterm designation, how to represent the variable, everything you can able to study. For example, consider you have the variables like x, y, z. Consider the variable x, y and then z. 3 variables here we have took. Then 3 variables means totally we will get 8 different combinations. Then minterm, what exactly the minterm represent? Minterm, their designation. In the same way, maxterm, their designation. If you know this table, then easily you can solve the problems also. Here if you have 8 variables, if you have 3 variables, 8 different combinations you will get. Then 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, then alternative 4 ones. 1, 2, 3 and then 4 ones. Next write down 2 zeros, 2, 1. 2 zeros, 2, 1. 0, 1. Alternative 0, 1. 0, 1. 0, 1. 0, 1. Now, in the definition itself, minterm I told you, it is a product. For example, I told you here. Example, x, y, z for minterm. For maxterm, x plus y plus z, where the variable may contains complement or it may not contains any complement. And here, if you have 0, then it represents bar. If does not have bar, it means that 1 here. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 0 ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬರಿಬೇಕು? ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು. 1 ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕು. Now here x y z, first write down the product ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ write down x y z. All the 3 variables here we have 0. 0 ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತ represent ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. x bar, y bar and z bar. Now take the next one, same pattern. x y z. For the first 2 only we have 0. Then for x as well as only y, write down bar. But for z, don't put any bar because 1 represents without complement. Next here, x, y, z. First one we have 0 as well as last one also we have 0 complement. X bar into y into z bar. These are the minterm. Now take the next one, x, y, z. Only for the first one it is 0. Then only for x, write down bar. Y and z are does not represent bar because if it is 1 without complement. Next, x, y, z. First one we have 1, that's why I don't put any complement. For the next 2 we have to write complement. Y bar, z bar. Next here, x, y, z. For the first one here we have 1, that's why I don't put any complement. Only for the second one you have to put complement. Now x, y, z. But first 2 have 1. Only for 0 you have to put complement. Next, x, y, z. X, y, z. All the 3 are 1. That's why I don't put any complement. This represents a minterm for the variable x, y, z. Then how to represent the designation for the first one? M naught. Minterm is compulsory to write in small letter. Maxterm is compulsory to write in capital letter. Minterm andre small ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, maxterm andre capital ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು m ಅನ್ನ. Now here m naught, then next m1, m2, m3, m4, m5, m6 and then m3, m4, m5, m6 and then this represents m7. m1, if the variable x bar, y bar, z bar, then the designation will be m naught. X bar, y bar, z, m1 represents the designation. X bar, y, z bar, m2. X bar, y, z, m3. X, y bar, z bar, m4. X, y bar, z, m5. X, y, z bar, m6. X, y, z, m7. This represents a minterm. Then in the maxterm, already I told you in the example, it is a sum of all the literals, where the way literals may be complement or without complement. And here it's just reverse of that. If it is 0, then it does not contain any complement. If it is 1, then only it contains the complement. These are the things regarding maxterm. Andre 0 idre complement ಹಾಕಬಾರದು, 1 idre matra complement ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. Now for the same variables, these are the variables. These are the variables. Then how to represent the maxterm? Same pattern, write down. But here x plus y plus z, write down. x plus in between, whereas in minterm dot operator we are writing, whereas in maxterm sum operator we are writing. But here if you have 1, then only to put complement. Here we have 0, then don't put any complement for the variable. 0 idre complement ಹಾಕಬಾರದು, 1 idre ಮಾತ್ರ complement ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. Next, x plus y plus z. See the variables x, y and z. 1 idre ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, complement ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ only for z you have to put complement here. Next, once again, x plus y plus z. Only second one is complement. Then x, y bar plus z. Now x plus y plus z, x plus y plus z. In this equation, only for these two I have to put complement. One idre matra complement hakbeku. X bar and z bar. Next, write down x plus y plus z. Now only for the first one you have to put complement. Next, x plus y plus z, x plus y plus z. Now see the equation, only for first and last one you have to put complement, x bar and z bar. Next, write down x plus y plus z. See the equation, only for the first two we have to put complement. Next, last one, x plus y plus z, x plus y plus z. Here for all the three we have 1, then for all the three I have to put complement. Now is it clear? Then how to represent the designation? X plus y plus z represents capital M naught. This is the designation. This represents M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6, and then this represents M7. These are the things regarding minterm and maxterm. See, I'm going to recall once again. Minterm is nothing but product of all the variables with or without complement. Minterm is a product of all the variables with or without complement, and here it will convert 0 to bar and 1 to without bar. Whereas if you come to maxterm is a sum of all the literals. Sum of andre plus operator irutte, sum of all the literals with or without bar. It may contains bar or it may does not contains any bar, but here it converts 0 to without bar variable and 1 to with bar variable. These are the variables. If I want, I can take for 2 variables also, whereas here I written for 3 variables, x, y, z. 3 variables means totally 8 different combinations we will get. If it is 2 variable, then totally different 4 combinations we will get. That also we will go to explain in the next class. See here, minterm is product of all the variable. Wherever we have 0, there you have to put complement. And first one, all the variables if it is complemented, all the 3 variables if it is complemented, then it is called as M naught is the designation. If only first 2 variables out of 3, if it is complemented, then M1 is the designation. Like this, 1 by 1 will represent the designation. Whereas maxterm, it is a sum of all the literals. Sum andre plus of all the literals. But here in this case, 0 represents without bar and 1 represents with bar. And here also we want to representing the designation in capital letter. Minterm will represent in small letter and maxterm we will represent in capital letter. Next class we'll continue with the remaining thing. Thank you all of you.